Hello dears, Natalie Locke here with episode 17 of Write the Story, where I give you a writing prompt out of this book and 10 words to include in that prompt, and you have in the given space about 400 words worth of space, depending on how tiny you write, to write the story. The way I normally do this is I'll take 10 minutes to outline, to kind of put pictures of where those 10 words are going to go, and then I give myself 20 minutes to write. Now, if you're new to flash fiction, you could not give yourself any time limit whatsoever. Because I missed the flash fiction with Barrett and Chandra this past Saturday, I'm doing the flash fictions that they did themselves. If you want to see how they did, click here. Now, because I'm covering the flash fiction from that Barrett and Chandra did on Chandra's channel, there's two prompts. There's the prompt out of the book, Write the Story, and then there's the prompt that was created with the spreadsheet. I will give you both, but I will tell you, I only outlined one of the stories. The prompt out of this book, Write the Story, number 17, is a romantic scene in an unromantic place. The words to include are blacksmith, tongue, woman, spark, musical, blind, Bible, barbecue, elbow, and bundle. Now, the prompt that Chandra and Barrett were able to create with the help of the chat was before sunrise or sunset. The words to include for that prompt is robe, freeze, smooth, brag, blush, bamboo, give, bus, clear, shove. Now, let me tell you how my outline did for the first one. So the first one was difficult because if you remember the words here, like blacksmith, tongue, but then you get words like musical and barbecue, and that doesn't quite fit with like the medieval times that you could go with, or Renaissance times that you could go with the other words. So you had to be creative. So I ended up deciding that my two main characters are a jockey and a blacksmith at a horse race. Hopefully I conveyed that it was unromantic because there was the smell of manure from the horses from the track, but we'll see. The way I tried to incorporate the words was a jockey and blacksmith, so I decided to make it a person's job. That there was the phrase love is blind. The love was at biblical proportions. Ended up not using Bible in that way. Did say the comment that didn't see him glancing at other women, but the phrase is woman. They stuck out their tongue while deep in thought. I was thinking that could have been a nervous tick, and I wasn't sure whether it was the blacksmith or the jockey that was going to stick out their tongue. They invited the blacksmith, the jockey, it's from the jockey's point of view, the jockey invited the blacksmith to a barbecue at the track, and they ended up getting sauce in their elbow. It said that their nerves were in a bundle, and the spark, the other word, ignited, and it was never put out. The person had that spark of love, and the jockey was always in love. I also had that there was musicals playing like over the blacksmith stereo or speaker or something like that, and that's what guided the jockey to stumble upon the blacksmith in the first place. Their bond over musicals. So out of the 10 words that I listed here, the ones that changed was Bible changed. I didn't use it as biblical proportions, so I kept it more pure to the word, because y'all know me, I will change a word if I need to. At least change the tense, or make it plural when it's singular, whichever the case might be. I kind of changed the spark, but at the same time I kept it in its purity. I just didn't say ignited. I just said it was instant. So really, out of 10 words, only one changed, and it was, I said biblical proportions, and then I changed it to Bible, and I like how I changed it. I feel like I gave it a good twist too, a little bit, not quite a twist. It's more of, depends on who you are as a reader and your predisposed assumptions about characters. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, one word out of 10 changed. Everything else stayed the same in my outline. I enjoyed it. Now, here's the story. And also, because I wrote this story while I was driving to see family and I was in a car and it was kind of hard to record, I got a time lapse of me working on a puzzle. But here's the thing. You're not going to see the puzzle finish until I read the second story. So if you're really hooked on my entire video about my flash fictions because of the puzzles, completely fine. I just want to let you know you're not going to see the puzzle finish until the second one. All right. Here is the first prompt from Chandra and Barrett's live stream over the weekend. And the story goes as this. I said I love you first. It had only been 2 weeks, but we spent every day at the horse track together. He was a blacksmith and I was a jockey. I stumbled into his forge when I overheard someone whistling musical numbers. The spark for me was instant, and I don't think it has ever gone out. We chatted for a bit, and I figured I might have a chance when I didn't see him glance at the woman who was lingering around the smithy. So I asked him to barbecue over our lunch break. He accepted. With our elbows on the table, we devoured the ribs and talked of our dreams, favorite pastimes, as well as even the ever so taboo topic of religion. We seemed to have the same stance on the Bible. On the 14th day since our first date, my nerves were a bundle. My tongue grazed my already chapped lips. Would he feel the same? Did my love blind me to only see what I wanted to? I chickened out once he caught me staring. All I could say when he asked what was, I like this joint. Finally, I took a breath. I could still smell the manure from the track, but it didn't deter me. I love you, Calvin, I blurted out. Calvin shook his head with wide eyes. His eyes held mine as a smile grew on his lips. I love you too, Nathan. So, that's the story. This story I liked because I also took it as a writing challenge. I wanted to write from a perspective that I knew nothing about. And as a bisexual female, I know nothing about a gay male or a bisexual male. I don't know anything about a male's lifestyle, but hopefully I still gave it justice. I still conveyed love and building together. I know I didn't do a story that could rival the first 5 minutes of Up, but I still feel like you felt the connection, you felt the love and the drive in this story, and I'm really happy with it. I think my favorite line is because it makes me think of a montage in a movie or something where you would see a connection building, and that favorite line is, with our elbows on the table, we devoured the ribs and talked of our dreams, favorite pastimes, as well as even the taboo topic of religion. It's so many things that this couple is talking about, and then they even broach on topics that they say you shouldn't talk about in like the first few days of knowing someone, and they felt comfortable enough to do that. So I felt like that line just conveyed the connection that Calvin and Nathan had. I will also say, flip side of this, of being favorite, is that you didn't see it coming, maybe, that the main character was a man. You probably thought a girl. That you could assume that the jockey was a female, because they're usually short and women predominantly are shorter than men. But I always like to challenge our preconceived notions of how things should be. Now, when we're talking least favorite line, I felt you got so much of Nathan's emotions and feelings and concerns through this story. And I feel like the one time we got Calvin's input, and yes, he did say I love you too, but I feel like I should have shown on his face more, shown a reaction or maybe body language while they were talking, even though I said his elbows were on the table too. I don't know. I feel like we didn't get as much from Calvin, and I feel like that is what could have made this connection stronger for the reader, is if I could have made Calvin's connection stronger. So because of that, my least favorite line is the one line that we get of Calvin's reaction, which is, Calvin shook his head with wide eyes. His eyes held mine as a smile grew on his lips. I want more. Like, did Calvin reach out and grab Nathan's hand or something? Like, I feel like I should have more there to show the connection that Calvin felt as well, because a connection is not a connection if you only see one side of it. A connection is there when you see both sides. This is what we want when we're watching movies and stuff. When we talk about the characters have chemistry, is because we see it from both sides, not just one. And I think I kind of dropped the ball on that side of the story here, but I still think it has a strong base. So you got my favorite line first, and you got my least favorite line. Now I can read you the before sunrise is the route I went. The before sunrise flash fiction that I did that Chandra and Barrett created. Here's the thing though. I did not outline this one. So there's nothing to compare, but I did struggle with one particular word, and I think I'm going to start mentioning that when I struggle with a word or not, of how to include it. So yeah, here's the story, and it's very short. He wanted to rest his head against the window, but as a bus regular, he knew the seats may have been cleaned, but the windows were not cleaned as often or as meticulous. He just wanted to get home. That way he could sit on his balcony with the warm lavender tea in his robe and watch the sunrise, listening to the water trickle over his bamboo fountain. It wasn't freezing outside, but his cheeks would still blush. The smooth ride made staying awake difficult. Once home, he should be able to sleep over 4 hours before his next shift. It isn't anything to brag about, but it keeps him with a clear mind for work. His eyes popped open when he felt the shove. All the passengers were on his side of the bus. They all raised their arms up, reaching for the roof of the bus. Before they could reach it, they turned to stand on the windows on the other side of the bus. The air started to have sparkles throughout it as the streetlights shone through the window frames. Most of the passengers collapsed onto their hands and knees. Some were able to stay like that, but 4 of them allowed themselves to lay down completely. He liked that idea. His head rested against the window frame. Just this once, he thought. He decided to give in to the sleep his body craved. So, this story, I think, has a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm going to go straight into what I didn't like. I feel my descriptions could have been better because I don't think it was clear that he just went through a car crash. But at the same time, I didn't want to say he went through a car crash. It could have been like a dream sequence where it's happening, but it's not really happening. And I understand that confusion. But here's the part that really stood out to me that I didn't like. And it's the entire sequence where after his eyes popped open when he felt the shove. And all the passengers' hands go up. And then they go down to stand on the window. And so I'm trying to describe how people are churning like mid-air to go through with this. And I think I didn't do well because the thing is, it almost makes it seem like he's not partaking in the churning and the spinning that's happening here, which makes it seem more like a dream sequence where really I'm saying I should throw in there like all of the passengers, because when we go through an accident, our bodies are just like moving to where the momentum is. And I did go a little dark because you're kind of left to assume that he's laying in the window pane or in the window frame, probably on the pavement, and he decides to just give into the sleep because he's all banged up from this car crash. And maybe that came full circle at the end, but I think I would have probably lost the reader in the beginning part of the arms raising and trying to stand on the windows, and I think it just gets confusing. So I feel I need to like research or maybe read excerpts of car crashes when someone is trying to convey time slowing down in such a quick moment. I feel I really could have worked on that. And I think that is just, I'll fix that over time as I get exposed more to that technique that I was trying to do, which is time slowing down, even though everything happened in a split second. Not to rag myself down and talk about how much I need to work on, let's cover my favorite line. Even though this line I feel could still use some work, I still enjoyed my opening line, which is, he wanted to rest his head against the window, but as a bus regular, he knew the seats may have been cleaned, but the windows are not cleaned as often or as meticulous. And I feel it's a little clunky and wordy, but at the same time, anyone who's been on public bus transport and stuff, you have your little ticks and stuff that of what you allow yourself to do because it's public. And especially in this day and age with everybody dealing with the thing that's going on in the world, I think people are a little more aware of cleanliness and taking care of themselves and not exposing themselves if they don't need to. So I feel that that line was just it set the scene, and you know exactly what was going on. You know the main character's feelings and emotions at that moment, as well as the setting that he was in at the same time. I just needed to clean it up and not make it as clunky. Just a thought with that. Those are, I mean, God, this video is going to be like about the length of my long single videos, but I got 2 stories in it, and I just wanted to share that with y'all. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your own writing prompts. I enjoyed the challenge of not outlining and just going straight into it. It was definitely fun. The word that I had the most trouble with was bamboo. It took doing research to search up what can bamboo make, because all I could think of was bamboo mats, and then a bamboo fountain. And I was like, you know what? He could get a cute little bamboo fountain on his balcony, and that's like his calming area. So hopefully that worked. But that was the most difficult word for me in that section. Thank you for watching another one of my videos. I'll keep these flash fictions going. I'm loving the challenges that I give myself and the creativity push and spark that it's giving me. I really enjoy these, and I hope you find what you enjoy as well. Just find a way to enjoy your day, your week, your month, and your year.